Hi, this is Dr. Frank with the Church of Rational Truth. This week's topic is going to be on cryptocurrency, very hot topic nowadays, and whether cryptocurrency should be considered an asset or an investment. A lot of people out there are saying cryptocurrency is a great investment, you should buy cryptocurrency, you'll get rich, but from what I've seen and how I would define things, a lot of this is going to be really a lecture about semantics, but the way I would define things, I wouldn't call cryptocurrency an investment. I would call it an asset. And there's an important distinction between the two that I'd like to get into and tease this apart and maybe clear up some things for people. You might have a different definition of things, but that's fine. I'm going to use some very specific terms to help us determine the difference of whether we should actually classify this as an asset or should we classify this as an investment. Now, in reality, these are a lot more murky, there's not always as clear lines, but I'm going to try and make some clear lines so we can try to understand one versus the other. First, I would say an investment is something that we purchase to generate wealth. It is something that I buy like a money machine where I am going to put my money into something that is hopefully going to make me money back. And I think that is a very active process. It's not very passive. Now, I'm not going to be the one doing the work, but the thing that I'm purchasing is hopefully doing the work and generating wealth. That is what I would think is an investment. Versus an asset is something that purely is purchased and owned. It doesn't actually do anything to generate wealth. It of itself has value, but it's not doing anything in terms of actively trying to produce more wealth. If we look at cryptocurrencies, the name is right there. It is just a type of currency. It is a type of asset. It is like a dollar. It is like a ruble, or at least that's what it should be known as, or what people are kind of purporting it as. It's an alternative to currency. Currency, you could kind of argue, is it an investment? Yes and no, but I would say it's much more clearly an asset. It has a value, you own it, but it does not do anything to generate wealth. It is purely a conveyance of wealth, or it is something to use in lieu of wealth or value, is in terms of exchanging, but that doesn't make it necessarily an investment. An investment is much more like a stock or a bond, and this is probably going to confuse people a lot because those things also have value. They're also traded back and forth, but what makes it different? A stock and a bond, they actually actively try to produce wealth. A bond is a loan to someone else who is hopefully going to use that to make more money and then give it back to you because they've made a profit on it. A stock is a portion of a company. That company's whole job is to try to make more money or more wealth off that money, and then you get a percentage of that. That is actively working to produce wealth. Assets don't necessarily do that. If I buy a house, that house isn't actively working to generate wealth. Versus if I buy a REIT or a real estate investment trust that owns houses, buildings, other things, but those are actively being used to generate wealth because they're usually being leased out. They're usually producing income because of their ownership. Not like me just buying a house personally, which would be probably much more considered an asset. Could you see it as an investment? Possibly, but then you could say everything is an investment at that point. I could say the cheeseburger I bought is an investment. A car is an investment. But really, it doesn't act like an investment in terms of actually producing wealth. It's usually one that just maintains and actually can only gain value based on changes in the market value. And I think that's where people get confused with cryptocurrencies, is that they think they can generate wealth from them, and you can make money off of it, but that's the same as you can make money off of any asset. Anything that I buy at one price, I can sell at a higher or lower price based on supply and demand. That is more of generating wealth through speculation versus, yes, you can make money on speculation on stocks and bonds, but really what gives them value is that they're trying to produce the wealth. I can try to price the market or time the market to buy it low and then sell it high and make money off of that, but really the long-term thing that's making those money is that they're going to be producing extra. I can do the same thing with a house, a baseball card, a Beanie Baby, but the reason they aren't is because they're not doing that active process. I have to hope that based on supply and demand, I'm timing things right, that they'll either be more demand or less supply, and that the prices increase or decrease. And that is how people are generating wealth off cryptocurrency. They're not doing it because the cryptocurrency is actually making money. They're doing it because someone else wants to buy it at a more expensive price. And that is pure speculation. Stocks and bonds can have that, but really what's maintaining growth in stocks and bonds, and this is probably where a lot of people get confused too, many people make money on stocks on capital gains, meaning the stock was worth $12 and now people value it at $15 and they sell it for a $3 profit. You could see the same thing happen with cryptocurrency. Let's say I bought it at $1 and sold it at $5, I've made $4. But the reason those things go up is the cryptocurrency is purely speculation. Businesses, what they do, and this is what has changed over the years, they used to pay dividends, and that was a big way of you making money off a business. You'd own it, and then owning that company would pay you a certain percentage out from the profits of the company as a dividend. Recently, that model has kind of shifted, especially with Warren Buffett. He started moving away from companies that pay dividends because the profits a company makes get taxed in the US, and then if they're paid as a dividend, they get taxed again. So if you're buying a company that has dividends that it's paying out for its profits, you're getting taxed twice. You're getting taxed once from the capital gains that the company made, and again from you getting paid off. So it doesn't make as much sense from an investment standpoint to pay extra tax. And a big thing about investing is trying to minimize your tax burden. You make more money that doesn't go to the government. So what he would invest in is companies that would keep that money instead of paying it back out to the shareholders. This way, you get the same amount of value, but it's just held within the company. And the way that's expressed is that that value of that company overall that retains that earning or retains that wealth should be worth more. If you have $1 million and pay it out to everybody, your stock's value goes down by $1 million. And you'll see this when they pay out a dividend. If my stock pays a 50-cent dividend, the next day when that dividend is past due or after that dividend gets paid out for its recording date, the stock drops equal to amount of that dividend because it just paid out that equivalent value within the stock. But instead, they withhold that, and because they're withholding it, their capital, the price per share should be going up because they're just holding on to that income and growing as a company. If they keep growing, that's wonderful. They can use that to reinvest and make even more money off the money, and so therefore it'd be more efficient to do that than to pay you a dividend and get extra taxes taken out. But that is very different than how a cryptocurrency goes up. A cryptocurrency does not go up because it's produced wealth. A cryptocurrency goes up merely because there's not enough to go around and more people want to spend more money on it. It's not because it's retaining earnings, it's not because it's actually made anything off the money that's already there, it's because more people just want to buy it. The problem with that is the entire valuation is based on supply and demand, and it only has a price that someone's willing to pay for it. Everybody compares Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies to Beanie Babies and other things that were fads because they were also 100% speculative. As soon as no one wants to buy it, the price goes down to zero. Versus stocks and bonds, at least a stock in a company, if the company still has $1 million worth of cash in its reserves, the stock should be, if you add it all up, equal to about $1 million. Sometimes it gets less if they are going to lose that $1 million or they're spending it poorly. But there's still hard currency or hard value that's retained in that company. A cryptocurrency does not have that. It does not have something that you can always guarantee that you're going to get something out of. Now, these are broad terms. You might go, oh, Frank, there's such and such cryptocurrency that's tied to so and so, blah 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 blah. But I'm not going into that. I'm not going into specifics. I would say just this is generalities with cryptocurrency, and that is really the big difference. I would say owning a cryptocurrency is like owning any kind of asset or any kind of thing. There's no difference. The price is based on a market price, and it fluctuates based on what people want. Versus buying a stock or a bond or an annuity, those have intrinsic wealth generating abilities. And because of those intrinsic wealth generating abilities, their value should be going up over time. Not always. Companies go bankrupt, companies do poorly, but that is kind of the gist of why those have value and why those are going to hopefully go up over time, versus cryptocurrency does not have that. It has nothing to guarantee that it's constantly going to go up over time. That's it for this video. Thank you so much. Thank you if you stayed to the end. We'll be back next week. Since it's going to be a new month, I think we'll have our financial report and another Sunday topic or lecture. I hope to see you then. Thank you so much. Have a great day.